Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Any stations on frequency?
Kilo, Romeo 6, Romeo Alpha Oscar on frequency.
Okay, Kilo, Romeo 6, Romeo Alpha Oscar. Anybody else for slow scan tonight? Oops. Okay, I don't hear anybody else tonight. This is Killer Pop for Mike Delta. One final call. Are there any other stations wanting to check in the slow scan TV tonight? It's KP for MD. Okay, maybe a light short net here. That's fine. It's KP for MD. Well, very good evening to you, Kishore. And if you're ready to send a picture, we're ready to receive. Go ahead, over.
Yeah, thank you, Carol, KP4MD, KR6RAO. I do have a picture ready to send, and let me try and test with the tone.
Yes, you have a good tone. Go ahead.
Okay, this is PD120.
Okay, very good, Kishore. This is KP4MD. Before I make any comments, I want to see, are there any other stations that would like to join us tonight? Please come in your call sign.
Alpha Echo 6 Juliet Golf, just monitoring tonight, but saying good evening.
Okay, thank you very much, James. Got you in the log, so you're just monitoring. Well, I got a good picture there. Charlie on our, I'm going to put a shout out to Charlie and Furby Assassin, who are on our live chat. Furby says good evening, and Charlie says Nano VNA. And I'm looking at this, and I recognize this is a tiny spectrum analyzer, what they call a tiny SA. You could actually read that in the lower right-hand corner. And I believe I can even read, it's sitting on top of what looks like a sheet of lined paper. And I can read the first peak has a marker on it there. Looks like 14.2 megahertz. And it reads minus 27 point, I don't know if it's 6. There's a number there I couldn't quite make, but I can make out the dBm. And I see a bunch of harmonic peaks. Like there's a second harmonic, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, all around. There's harmonics way out past even the 10th harmonic. And I can read the stop. Says, you know, on the horizontal scale, stop. Kind of hard to read. I don't know if that's 250 megahertz, but you've got harmonics going way up high there. So I'm curious what this is, but what you're taking a picture of there, what were you testing? But that certainly is a tiny SA. I know because I have one of those myself. So over to you, Kishore, and could you explain what you're pleased doing? KR6 RAOs, KP4MD.
Yeah, KP4MD, KR6 RAO. Thank you. Yeah, I was. This is the tiny SA which I actually got at the club meeting. Won at the club meeting, my first club meeting. I was trying to play around with it. I appreciate you sent me a lot of information. I remember on the tiny SA to learn, and I wanted to try to understand what are the in my shack what's happening. And so I was just playing around with it, and I realized when I was transmitting that I was picking up a bunch of harmonics in my shack. So I haven't set it up to read all the right frequencies yet, but I just was playing around with it, and I thought it was interesting to see those multiple harmonics. I had to learn how to tune it down to the right frequency and the start and stop, but just learning about this, I think this is a great tool to use, and I look forward to using it more. Back to you, Carol, KP4MD, KR6 RAO.
Okay, so what was the signal you were feeding into this to get this kind of display? Over.
Yeah, it was just the antenna which comes with the tiny SA, and I had set it up in my shack, just to see what's going on and how to play around the menu. And then I happened to be on a net, and I was transmitting, and I saw these harmonics pop in. So I just took out my phone real quick and snapped a picture. Back to you, Carol.
Oh, okay. So you just had the whip antenna on there, and you were transmitting. Were you actually transmitting on 14.2 megahertz at the time? Over.
Negative. I think it was one of our nets. The N6NA repeater. So it was definitely not that low frequency. It was much a higher frequency. Back to you.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was wondering because if you were transmitting on 14.2 megahertz and you were getting all of those harmonics, I'm thinking you must have been. I don't think you would have any transmitter that was that dirty that would be just putting out that many harmonics. What could be happening is you might have just a very strong signal going into the radio. I mean, into the tiny SA, and it may be causing some distortion due to overload of the signal strength going in there. You have to take with a grain of salt what you pick up on your antenna too. With just an antenna hooked up to the tiny SA, because there's a lot of devices, electronic devices like switching power supplies that put out all kinds of signals like that your tiny SA can pick up and display, not necessarily coming out of your radio. The real way, of course, to test that on your radio would be to use an attenuator into a dummy load, and that way you'll actually get a clear measurement of what you're transmitting. Uh, yeah, it's to get a random pickup with just the whip antenna. You really don't know what you're seeing there, but very interesting. Okay, I'm going to take a standby. Are there any other stations that want to join us or have any comments about this pictures, KP4MD?
KI1TTY monitoring.
Okay, we have KI1TTY. Jen also monitoring. Welcome, and thank you for joining us here. At least you're just watching. Okay, thank you very much for explaining that. Does anybody else have a picture that they want to send, or shall I send a picture? Okay, I think I'm going to go ahead and send a picture, and this is going to be PD120, KP4MD. Okay, Kishore, KR6RAL, KP4MD. How did you copy that, and what do you make of that? Over.
Yeah, thanks, Carol. Picture came through. There are quite a few pixel pops, I think, all over the picture. But what I see is I think a lake feet cycle. It's a tricycle with a trailer. It's obviously a mobile station. Looks like it completely with a buddy pole antenna up at 8 feet. It's a Whiskey 3 Foxtrots, Trixie Mobile, I think. It also has an FT857D, I believe, on it with a American Amp something ALS 500, I believe. So it looks like a nice rig with a mobile thing. I see a headset dangling on the left handlebar, and looks like a pretty good setup to be all mobile. Interested to see if this is yours, Carol. KP4MD, KR6RAO.
No, this is KP4MD. No, that is Whiskey 3 Foxtrot Foxtrot W3FF Tricycle Mobile. His name is Bud Drummond. He is actually the inventor of the buddy pole and the buddy stick. He lives up in Reading, and he rides this around the town there in Reading, and he hauls that 500 watt amplifier on that trailer with a big automotive battery to power it. So he actually operates that way with 500 watts coming out of that buddy pole. So I have to hand it to him. I really admire that he does that. He's an elderly gentleman, and he's come to a number of the conventions. He wasn't at the last Pacificon. He actually came down and visited the River City Arcs a number of years ago before the pandemic, and we have a video of him explaining the buddy pole antenna, and that's on our YouTube channel. So I believe he has this posted on his QRZ website, W3FF. It's Bud Drummond. So very curious, and of course that's how he keeps healthy. He does his physical exercise on that tricycle to get around town. It works out very well for him. Any comments, or anybody else have any comments on this pictures, KP4MD?
Carol, KR6RAO here. Yes, I should have recognized the call sign since I've read a lot of his postings and the buddy pole. I have a buddy pole, trying to use it. Yeah, it's awesome. It looked good to see this. And thanks for bringing this on. It gives us an idea of kind of what can be done mobile. Back to you, KR6RAO.
Okay, very good. Yeah, this is KP4MD. Let me take a standby. Anybody else would like to join us or have any comments on this picture before we continue? Okay, nothing heard. I'm just going to ask you, Kishore, if you have another picture, you're certainly welcome to go ahead and send it, and we'll do another go-round here before we close the net. If you'd like to do that, KR6RAO, KP4MD.
KP4MD, KR6RAO. No, I had not prepared another picture, so I think we can close out the net unless you have another picture you'd like to send. KR6RAO.
Okay, yeah, I'll just send one more pictures, KP4MD, and this is also going to be PD120, KP4MD. Okay, Kishore, how did you get that? And any comments on that? Over.
Yeah, KP4MD KR6RAO here. Yeah, that picture came through really good. I see a picture of, it says Parachute Mobile Mission 45 coming up in a few days, April 27th, and sounds really interesting. It says Parachute something, CX, kind of grabber for me, will be listening starting at 0830 hours from Mount Diablo on 147.570 megahertz with first jump at approximately 1100 hours. Sounds interesting. It looks like a parachute jumper who's going to be transmitting while parachuting down to Earth, I guess. So that sounds pretty interesting. Also, there's a website there. I think it's called parachutemobile.org, and call out, and I see a picture of whoever that is, double thumbs up, smiling for the camera as they're floating down. So it sounds really interesting. But the picture came through. Yeah, again, I see a few pixel pops, more than normal for you, Carol, coming in all over the picture. But otherwise, a very clear picture and very legible. Back to you, KR6RAO.
Okay, yeah, I just had to find the push to talk button here on my screen. Yeah, indeed, that is an upcoming event. It's going to be on the 27th, which I believe is Saturday, starting around 11 o'clock. And these folks, they do these jumps like about 2 or 3 times a year. When they announce them, they're down there in the Bay Area, but you can hear them all the way up here because they're way up high, and they come in very clearly in the Sacramento area. And if you talk to them and you send them you can make up your own QSL card if you don't have one. They will send you a QSL card for their parachute mobile event. And it's exciting. You know, they get up there, and I'm sure they're using a little handheld, and they're hearing loads and loads of people from up to 100 miles away, because they're up higher, of course, than any mountaintop when they jump out of their plane up there. So yeah, if you're around for that, I would strongly suggest that. I've done it once here, and I've got one of the cards up here on the wall from them. Any other comments about that? Over. Okay, nothing heard. Okay, it's probably good that I'm cutting this net a little bit short here. We've been on for about 25 minutes, but I am kind of busy. I'm getting ready for some presentations I'm going to be giving at the Big Bear mini hamcation this weekend. So I'm working on my slides. I've got 2 talks I'll be giving, one about DXing and one about contesting. So I've been doing a lot of work on just finalizing my slideshows, and I really like to do a good job on that. I usually take a few hours, so I'm going to be working on that tomorrow also. But thank you very much for joining us here, Kishore, and I'm expecting we'll probably have a little better turnout probably tomorrow, next week. So you will have a wonderful evening, wonderful rest of the week also. KR6RAO. This is KP4MD, and wishing everybody good night out there who's watching us on YouTube. And we'll be here next Wednesday, as usual, for our slow scan television net. It's KP4MD now closing the net. 7-3.
KP4MD KI1TTY. Thanks so much for running the net tonight. Have a great week.
Looking forward to next week's net. Good night and 73s, and good luck with your presentation. KR6RAO out.
Roger, 7-3 Kishore, 7-3 is also Jen. I heard you both. So you all have a wonderful evening. It's KP4MD now QRT.